your feet, Highway. This is Service Headline News. I'm your host, Marty Smith, and I'm joined by our historian, Eric Perrott.
What's going on, fellows?
And our man in the closet, Jake Wall.
How you doing, guys?
We're here to bring you the latest headlines and updates pertinent to all servicemen and women. So take your seats, get informed, and have a laugh as the Swearing In Podcast presents Service Headline News. Good to see you, gentlemen.
You too.
Yeah,
My house is hot.
Still no AC.
And it was funny because my daughter wasn't going to have a wedding, but she had a little shotgun wedding, right? They were going to have a wedding in September, and then they're like, oh, shit, she's pregnant. So we had a little shotgun wedding, and a bunch of my family came, but it was last month when all that rain was happening, right? So it was relatively cool, and I was like, ooh, good, because this fucking AC it stays on, and then the lines frost up, and then it shuts off. So you get about an hour out of it. So I never had to turn it on, and then I went and applied for that HELOC, which I got approved for, and as soon as I got approved, 80-degree days, 90-degree days. I was like,
yeah.
So you got fans? You got fans going on?
I got every fan in the world. You can probably hear the one above my head. But then it just it feels like you're in the wind all night. You know, you're just like, oh, my face is chapped. That's a little fan is blowing on it.
Sucked all the moisture out.
So they're coming tomorrow to replace the AC, right? You wake up, you're like,
yeah, you wake up
so dry.
with your tongue dry and stuck to the side of your teeth, and you're like, I don't know, that's physically possible.
But it got me thinking, can you remember the last time that you lived anywhere without AC? And I was thinking it's definitely my college and right after college, like my first years in the Army, when we were too cheap to get it. I lived with a bunch of guys. We had no AC in that thing. Windows open all night, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that was 30 years ago.
Man, I can't even remember not having AC.
Really?
Yeah, that's how we grew up, is opening the windows at night and then closing the windows and the blinds in the morning.
Even in Florida, it was too hot for that shit.
No way, you get acclimated to that.
No, man, it's smoking hot, even 90 degrees at night.
Do you have swamp coolers? Remember swamp coolers?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, swamp cooler. My house in Aurora had a swamp cooler.
Oh, it did.
I did nothing but make freaking tinnitus. That's all it did. That thing got me 10%. I'll tell you that much. Freaking swamp cooler.
It's just background noise.
Kind of, yeah. PCs. And it was the biggest goddamn thing, right? I've never seen a swamp cooler under 200 pounds. Anyway, Eric, what do you got? You got a day in history for us?
I do indeed. This one is that's a good one. Q&A. All right, guys, I'm going to give you some information before we go to it. You'll see the connection here in a minute. All right, I wanted to give you a little information.
Probably won't, but I will trust you.
4 sitting presidents have been killed by assassination. Can you name them? Okay, well, one. Come on, man.
We got Lincoln and Kennedy.
Lincoln and Kennedy.
Wasn't Garfield one of them?
Garfield was one. Who was Who was the other one? The fourth one. One more.
Either way, 25% better than Marty.
Oh yeah, brother, that was good.
Oh,
William
come on.
McKinley.
McKinley.
All right,
4 seating presidents. All right, so.
Wait, who was the one who got killed in a duel? Was he a president?
He didn't. He didn't die.
I don't know which one.
Oh, the other guy.
He killed people in a duel. Like, that was the most duel. Like, he would challenge people. Oh, what president was that? He would challenge people to duels. Like, that's it. You're late for work. I'm tired of it.
Oh, you disagree with me on this budget item? Outside.
Dueling. Let's go.
All right. So I thought I'd throw that little piece of information for you because today's date in military history took place in 1776 on June 28th. Thomas Hickey. Anybody know the name Thomas Hickey? Hickey.
No.
Okay. Well, this goes back too far. So I didn't know this. This is pretty cool. 1776, June 28th, Thomas Hickey was hanged for his assassination attempt on George Washington during the American Revolution. How about that?
You son of a
shit.
So Hickey is hung on the date. And I'm going to give you a quick quote.
What was it? What was the date?
June 28th, 1776.
God bless.
So George Washington said,
the unhappy,
the big guy, the unhappy
was
fate of Thomas Hickey.
Did this attempt happen when he was president or when he was a general?
When he was a general, prior to being president.
All right.
The unhappy fate of Thomas Hickey, executed this day for mutiny, sedition, and treachery. Wow. The general hopes will be a warning to every soldier in the army to avoid those crimes and all others, so disgraceful to the character of a soldier and promiscuous to his country, whose pay he receives and bread he eats. And in order to avoid these crimes, the most certain method is to keep out of the temptation of them, and particularly to avoid lewd women, who by the dying confession of this poor criminal first led him into the practice, which ended in an untimely and ingenormous, I can't even say that word, and I'll just put untimely death.
Where'd the lewd women come from?
I think that was just this was
They're always in there, Marty. Always in there.
Like it
was in the order.
You know what would make me hot? If you killed the general of the Continental Army. That would make me
frothing at the loins.
Well, it's funny because you never hear anything talking about going back that far on Washington's life.
Does it describe how he tried? How he
did?
The
promiscuous bread part was my favorite part, though. Until the lewd women. I got I'm thinking rye. That freaking marbled rye, that's a promiscuous ass bread.
It's a sexy bread.
Yeah. Good baguette.
It's a long story, to be perfectly honest with you. So you guys will have to research on your own the story.
What? All right, good what are you talking about?
How did he do it? He just tried to.
Do you want me to read you the whole freaking thing?
No,
I can read you
because I'm sure you've already read it. I just need you to sum it up.
Marty, don't give
Did he walk up to him and put a gun in his face?
No.
Did he
he was talked into it by a guy named Ketchum. Found himself clapped in irons for counterfeiting easily counterfeited colonial paper currency. There, Ketchum caught jailhouse scuttlebutt of loyalist plots afoot in New York.
Wait, Eric, the whole time you're doing this, Marty's just like, motherfucker, I just wanted to know how.
I told you.
What do you do? Were we talking about paper cuts now?
He was given
infected paper cut. That's how he did it. Like, that's what Marty's doing right now.
No, I'm not.
It was an infected paper cut. He tried to kill him with a razor.
Fucking killing George Washington with an infected paper cut.
Good job, Eric. Another stellar entry into our day in military.
I loved it.
All right, I guess I'm just gonna have to get better and better at this. I'm just trying. I'm trying.
It's a process. It's a process.
Better and better every day.
Yep.
Every day.
All right, let's go on to the news because people are, if they haven't tuned off already, they're about to. They might after these first couple stories. So,
oh yeah.
All right, remember when we did that story about the Army's new fit test, right? The ACFT, the 6th event ACFT. Well, it looks like Congress now wants to change it again. So, from military.com, Congress's dueling ideas for the Army fit test. So the National Defense Authorization Act is up for vote into Congress. The House Armed Services Committee introduced an amendment into the NDAA, into the current NDAA, for the Army to implement gender-neutral standards for soldiers serving in combat arms. It's like, that's a weird thing to put in that amendment. It's like, why don't you just let the military run the military? We got 5 guys up there, right?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
service members up there.
Couple hundred of the most unfit individuals in our entire government system is like, you know what people that can do a push-up need to do?
Yeah, we'll see in July for our congressional softball game. But that's
By
all
the
I'm
way,
doing.
15 is 15 a good number? I don't know.
When do you think the Joint Chiefs last did their fitness test?
Yeah, 2 years
Oh,
daily, weekly, monthly, annually?
ago. Oh no.
I don't know. I would imagine that the Joint Chiefs are probably pretty fit, right? It's the ones who retire at like Lieutenant Colonel. And
I bet you it's about 50-50. Either you get that old silver
that's good.
fox that's just still ripping it up,
right?
Or you get that Navy guy that's just gone all to hell and is only useful for ballast.
He's been on profile for the last 15 years.
Oh yeah.
He's not even
and
wearing
one of
boots.
them is like belt length. Like, can I get a custom belt for these whites?
He's probably wearing running shoes because he's got shin splits since.
That's a given.
I need an extender for the airplane. I need to get an extender.
Anyway, it's
that's a curious question though.
It's a move that Army senior leaders and the rank and file would likely welcome to make gender neutral standards, right? Some service planners behind the scenes were unhappy with the introduction of the Army Combat Fitness Test, which ended up having different standards for men and women. So did the traditional fit test.
Yeah.
I don't know why they point to that new ACFT.
Yeah.
Because the traditional one, for as long as they ever invented it or installed it, had men and women standards, right?
Yep.
Others argue grading women on the same scale as men while relying on those scores for promotions would be unfair. But I thought
that is true, because unfortunately, if you get a scale that is very is good and half the women can pass it,
right?
80% of the guys are going to be passing it, unfortunately.
Yeah, but wasn't it all about equality in the first place? Women wanted to be judged by the same standard?
I don't know, honestly.
No.
Well, I disagree with you on that.
We have that real world situation, right? Remember that I told you about my friend's troop. Definitely top 10 on base.
Yeah, right. Now I remember. Yeah.
That was actually awarded top 1 athlete of the freaking year for a military base. And then did a transition, got everything, like medicine and everything. I don't know what to what extent. Medicine, everything, constant hormone treatment.
Yeah.
Could not pass the male standard.
Oh, no kidding.
Unfortunately. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
And they were like going back and back and back and nope.
Well, I know.
And that might be just one example. But
the women who have completed Ranger School, they were same standards as men.
That's right. There's been like 4 of them, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
that have really passed it, and I'm with that, because that's about right. You know, that's about right. I mean, the majority of men can't pass Ranger School.
That's right.
So,
to include any of the other special forces requirements,
right? So, I mean, there are those women out there, and that's I have no problem, and I don't think any man worth a shit in the military has any problem with one standard out there. You either meet it or you don't, right? Especially for some of those schools, because they know they're not at that school because they couldn't meet it.
Yeah, that there's a difference between those schools and the standard
daily PT
all over a Air Force PT test.
I'll give you that.
I'm never having to drag a body. I'm never going to have to do a pull up with gear on. Right. I'm not going to do that in my day in, day out Air Force career.
Sure.
So holding those guys or people to higher standard, 100%. Absolutely. Sure.
Yeah. And it mentions the MOSs here. But at the I don't know. It's I
But
lost my point. Anyway,
and at any point in time where we get jacked up, the military gets jacked up, is once you get all the politics involved into it,
yes,
it just goes to heck, you know. And
yeah,
and unfortunately, also things work better if you tailor them to individuals, or the more you tailor them down, right? Unisex PT
right,
gear
right.
does not fit anyone well. Anyone, right? Unisex uniforms don't
No.
fit anybody,
No,
right?
no.
It doesn't work, right? So we have age brackets for a reason.
Why do I feel
That's
like
a
Jake's
good
older
point.
than us tonight? Why do I
That's
feel
a
like
Yeah.
Jake's older?
that's
I
a
feel,
damn
where's
good
all the
point.
gray there, Jake?
There's a yeah, there's no there's like I got some right here, but
I'm
So
feeling like I'm
keep
being
going.
educated here, man.
you remember? I think you turn 18 in Colorado, you could drink back when I was here. You turn 21 and you can drink big drinks, right? When you
Yeah.
turn 27 or 28, your insurance goes down.
Or
Right?
and isn't it there one of those ages where you could rent a car finally?
Well, yeah, sure,
26,
Oh
24?
yeah.
sure.
Had to rent a car?
But
Yeah.
there was also that secret age group, not secret, but there was also that looking forward to that next age bracket on the fit test. So you're like, whoo, that just bought me
That's
2 minutes
man.
on the run. And you're
Yeah,
like, God
your
damn.
minutes and your push-up sit-ups didn't really matter, but
Not
man,
too much, but that
that
run,
run just goes.
I was like,
You're like,
wow, that changes everything.
look at this.
I can walk this 13-minute run.
Oh, yeah.
So what they're saying is that if China's fighting the U.S. just between 17 to 21-year-olds, they got the best. Right?
Oh,
But if they're fighting older age bracket, they're like, we could take it a little easy. These guys can't run as fast.
Out of shape.
So there was one idea about adjusting minimum passing standards for frontline roles, making the current pass rate for 17 to 21-year-old men the blanket minimum of men and women in combat arms. So Army has three different, right? They got combat arms, they got combat support, and then they got combat service support, right? So the combat arms are all infantry, armor, artillery, all that stuff. So the job codes that would see higher and gender neutral ACFT standards, if the House's proposal passes, would be infantry, field artillery, engineers, special forces, and cavalry fields.
Hmm.
All right. Interesting that armor wasn't one of those, but I guess you're just riding. I suppose.
You're right.
just riding around. Armor's the space operators.
Of course, loading, being a loader, but they got auto loaders now too. So maybe that's why they didn't include them.
Lumbar support. That's the worst they have to worry about.
And a door on their new freaking high-speed dune buggy.
Can we make this door a little bigger?
The Booker was the Army.
Yeah.
Dune buggy was the Marines.
Yeah.
Military.com said that the Senate's version of the draft NDAA includes a provision to revert the Army back to its old test, the Army physical fitness test. So I don't understand why they would just go back unless they're just like, we were fine with those old standards. Let's just go back to that. So that sounds like a give up, right? So that pissed off the Sergeant Major of the Army, Michael Grinston, who said, look, we've been trying to do this for a decade, and now we got it, and now you guys want to get rid of it.
Yeah, it seems like they're coming up with a new suggestion on how to do this fit test
And
constantly.
It just seems inappropriate that Congress put that provision in the NDAA funding to determine how the Army is going to go about their fit test. It's like, get out of their business.
To your point, let the Army run the Army.
Right.
Yeah. The extent of that would be like, are your troops able to fight? Are they physically fit? Are you retaining enough people?
Right.
Do you need to rebalance? Yes, no.
Right.
You're good? All right, good.
Let's
Thank
play.
you. I'm not dealing like.
So this whole thing smells of, I don't know why they're pushing for these equal standards, even though it is men and women standards.
Yeah.
It's worked fine, but now that they're integrating some of these combat arms branches, maybe that's where some of the issue comes from.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And that's fine. I just want it to be fair, right?
I think they all do.
If you-
We all
if
do,
you
right?
if
Yeah.
you are retaining only 50% of your female group and the male group is jelly, clearly
That's a problem.
that is an issue. Like, right? Like I don't think it's going to be that bad, but I just want it to be fair. Like,
Sure. And like I said, I think we all want it to be fair. I think
Yeah.
everybody respects the same deal, right?
How many times did you see someone get promoted with a lower fit score because they had 2 more decorations than you or something like
How many
that?
times I see somebody get promoted who is on profile and hasn't taken a full up fit test in a year?
So that comes back to it's
Yeah,
not fair. That's not fair.
Yeah.
That's a bunch of
yeah,
crap.
And that's the bigger issue. It's not necessarily the fit test. It's
Correct.
the people who are like, oh, I've been on profile for my ankle, so I can't run. Okay, we'll test you again in 6 months. Well, it's still okay. We'll give you a reprieve. We'll try it. Okay, you failed. Go back on
Yeah.
profile. And people are wizards at that.
Yeah. Or the guy that got an achievement medal, 1 point more for changing the lady's tire outside the gate. Got an achievement medal and outscored you.
But
Those
he's walking around in tennis shoes because he got shin splints. You're like,
Right.
son of a bitch.
this is oddly specific. Eric is bringing it back like a 23 years ago.
That shit
Everybody-
happened, man.
Everybody would have
you.
changed the tire. Everybody would have
But
stopped.
not everybody should have got an
heroic.
achievement
You
medal.
should have paused just a little bit more. Like, a guy who gets like, let's say, I don't know, change the tire on the way, but you
a
went
mid-June
right into
sunny
it.
day. He didn't even do it on a rainy day. He was fine.
So there may have been an instance that occurred in my past that I find a little bitter, and it's a pill right here in my mouth still. So yeah.
You we couldn't tell. We couldn't tell you were
hell?
drawing on personal experience.
Where did the requirement for getting an achievement medal consist of changing someone's tire outside the fucking gate? Come on. Ugh.
Did he also get airman of the quarter?
I don't even know. I don't want to discuss it anymore. I'm bitter about it.
Yeah. But I love it's just there's once again no consistency, right?
No, I know. Right.
That's
right.
the problem.
Okay, well, the draft NDAA is still in the stages, so there's a lot of back and forth. So we'll see what happens. But I don't know why they're getting involved with it at all. Anyway, so next one we've talked a lot about recruiting, and the Army just celebrated. Hey, we can't get enough people, but the people we got we're keeping. So good on the Army for doing that. But
Yeah, they met their goals, didn't they?
They met their retention goals. Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
So. But military.com has a story about Army National Guard can't retain enough soldiers, even as active duty meets their goals. So like we said, the Army has met the recruiting goal for 2023 already. So awesome. So once you got them in, apparently they're doing a good job of retaining them.
Good.
It's funny, but they can't get people in. It's funny. The opposite of for the Army National Guard is true. They can get people in. They can't retain them. Which is interesting.
No.
But anybody who's familiar with the Guard and Reserve understands the challenges that they have to go through, right? They have to balance a civilian job.
Yeah.
And then once
Scheduling,
a month
timing.
they come in. It's pretty interesting because this guy put, there's an advocate. Did you know there's an advocate for Guardsmen and Reservists? I never knew that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you did? I never knew that.
Yeah.
I'm not buying that, Jake.
There's a representative for every branch in every section like that.
Yeah, well, this sounds like almost a civilian company. Says this Eric Evans. He's the CEO of Friendly Forces, an advocacy group for Guardsmen and Reserves. He said, just being in the Guard, you start to get burned out because every month you know that you're going to work 12 days straight. And that one sentence, I was like, oh, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Fucking
12
days.
days
Straight. That sucks. So you go to work,
We
you go to
did
work,
that
drill,
occasionally,
and then
too.
straight back to work. Yeah. Yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah, every single month you knew it was coming. You know, you do the dirty dozen.
Yeah.
Right?
That lost weekend. Right.
Yeah. So you would get paid for 4 days though, right? Or you would get points for 4 days.
Oh, you get points for 4 days, right? 2 halves.
And pay only for 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I thought that was that whole 2 days a weekend and all this.
That's it. One weekend a
that's it.
month, 2 weeks a year, right?
Okay.
That's your requirement. But so every single month, like the third weekend,
Come hell or high water.
UTA weekend, about as fun as a UTI. You're going 12 days in a row, burning and discomfort all around.
Well, if you think
Right.
back, to the 2000s, right, and when OIF and OEF are going strong, and guardsmen were getting deployed left and right. You know, they were volunteering, right? And there was
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
in lieu of taskings that they would take reservists or guards, and so these guys were stepping up, and they were doing 3-4 months over there and coming back. But then there was a whole big thing is like, hey, employers, remember you got to support your guardsmen, and sentiment was high to do that back in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Now it's kind of faded, and
Yeah.
I know that even though they are mandated, employers are mandated to support the guard and reserves, they do it with just this bitterness.
Now, this goes back to some of that entitlement that we discussed within veterans and military members, and that this applies directly to that because there's a lot of companies that have policies written that do like a top up where if I'm like, say I'm employed by whatever, AT&T, whatever.
Yeah.
AT&T says, okay, my salary is this. My salary is 100K. And when I go and take orders, I only get 50K a year. They don't count like all the other benefits. They only go base pay, 50K. So they will still pay, AT&T will still pay. They'll do a top up where I'm on orders with the military, but to retain me, they'll still pay 50K to me. So it really incentivized quite a few guardsmen and reservists to say, oh, really? You'll do that?
Right.
Hey, reserve guard, do you have orders? And they're volunteering every third month, doing a month or 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And from a
reducing their time with the company.
Taking advantage.
Exactly. From
right.
Company's perspective, okay, yes, you're getting experience. Yes, I can advertise that I have this up to date, no bullshit, like guardman guy, like right there supporting the military.
I support.
But
yeah,
you're still getting PTO, maybe. You're still definitely getting at least half pay.
Sure.
I'm not getting any work out of you.
None.
Right.
I can take you out of that specific job, but I can now bid against you, saying, oh, Marty's not assigned to any task, but I got Marty if he needs to come back. And
right.
So any contract bids or anything, they can do that. So
those are bad actors, though. Those are guys, like Marty said, who are taking
it. It depends on what the company wants, but sometimes you're working for a smaller company and you're like, dude, I can't do any of that, you know?
No, and the flip side of that is it's like, okay, we need to put you on orders for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And the guy's out there working on orders, and he's like, I'm not making my civilian job pay. I'm making my E4 pay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, shit, you're working for Northrop Grumman and they're paying you 80, 90
100K.
grand.
Yeah.
Right. And now you're making E4 pay. And he's like, yeah, this sucks. And I was like, that would suck.
Or those units that do messed up UTAs where they do like a super UTA.
Yeah. That's.
And every month you're taking off like a week.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And I'm losing as an employer, I'm losing that guy once a quarter for a full week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
he becomes less and less important as he goes.
Yeah, well, you're working around, like he becomes a difficulty. You're working around that guy.
Well, in most instances, if you're supporting a contract that's active, say Northrop Grumman, and you're not supporting it, well, then we're going to move you to a contract that's not viable, feasible. I mean, there's not as much money.
Yeah.
So we're going to pull you down, and they might even reduce your salary.
And they're still meeting their requirements to keep you employed, right? To keep you employed and competitive, even though you're not there. But the company's got to got to survive too, right? They've got commitments as well. So, but that's what you get with 20 years of war, always bringing up the Guard and Reserve because active duty is short. So it seems understandable why the Guard is having retention problems.
Yeah, I agree.
So
Yeah.
anyway,
I never had any problems with any of my troops. Like every time I had anybody in my flight and I'm the AGR rep, I say, okay, what do you want out of the reserve? What do you want out of the Guard?
Yeah.
And sometimes 100% honesty, all I want is you to maintain my clearance.
Yep.
And to get lower medical. And
or an education.
That's cool.
An
I'm just
education.
here so that in 3 years or 2 years, I'm going to start using my TA. Cool.
Yeah.
If you were honest with me like that, never had a problem.
No, that's true. And you paint the worst picture. You paint the worst picture for them, and they're like, "Yeah, this is what I want." So you understand where I'm coming from. I understand where you're coming from, and it's good.
And as a manager, I'm like, okay, cool. I got A, B, and C. They're not going to volunteer for anything. They're 1 week in a month, guys.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm never going to approach them with additional orders.
If I come to work for the weekend, can we get rid of this UTI? Because it's really fucking hurting.
Yeah, no, you're on your own. Military doctors might clear up that UTI. But you're definitely not getting 10% for that thing.
Let's get on to something a little. What you want to talk about the Coast Guard, Jake? Because that's a fucking great story. We always need good stories.
I missed that one.
I didn't.
So you prepared
really quick.
You did your Hickey preparation, didn't you?
I sent you the information, and I was waiting for a thumbs up, and then I was like, "All right, well."
Oh, okay. All right.
I'm waiting for Marty to give me the blessing. Like
this is the 186 million in illegal narcotics. Wow.
How can I help you on the day of my daughter's wedding? That news article is blessed. Godfather.
For those of you listening, vote in the comments of who's doing less work. Is it 100%. My man in the closet or is it my historian? Please let me know.
I like how you're not in on this.
Wait, here. Pull this.
You open up a Zoom meeting 5 minutes late.
Oh shit.
Thank you very much.
All right, moving on. So remember what we were talking about? We've always done robot dogs. They keep coming back. Remember the robot dog we showed when they had the weapon on the back of it, and it was like throwing it off its legs because
an M16 bouncing up and down.
Yeah.
Well, they haven't developed this yet, but a civilian company has now developed this. So this is from Task and Purpose. They have a story about this company called Throwflame. I'll give you one guess of what Throwflame does. Right? The company Throwflame.
A flamethrower.
They do flamethrowers.
Wow.
In a civilian application. So they're talking about brush burning. I can't really think of any other civilian application other than brush burning.
Yeah, police send them in.
Oh, they said melting snow.
Oh, give me a break.
I know, that's what I thought too.
It's such a kid thing. Like,
I know.
What could you use this for? Do you really need to spend 100?
I know, Dad. I can melt snow with it.
We could melt snow. Okay, yeah, you could melt snow. Get that shit out of here.
That brings up a story from my youth. And Jake, you might be too young for this, but I'm sure Eric remembers. Well, remember before aluminum cans and everything was in those hard metal cans, sodas and all that shit. But you used to be able to take those, you cut the bottom and the top off, and you tape like 6 or 7 of them together.
Oh, yeah.
And you keep the bottom of the bottom one intact, and you drill a little hole.
Run a string through it?
Well, you could. Yeah, well, yeah, that's a safe way to do it. Definitely.
Okay.
But you put some lighter fluid in there. You put a tennis ball down, which creates enough seal, and you light that lighter fluid, and you have a cannon, right?
Potato gun.
Or a potato gun, right?
The potato gun and the aqua net.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Same thing.
We didn't do small potato guns. We did like half a russet. Like you're blowing a hole in a freaking shed. It
You got
made
some
the
momentum
most
coming out of that thing.
Oh, that thunk, thunk, like it sucks air in. Boom.
It
That
wouldn't
was a
kill
good
you.
sound.
But I remember my neighbor's kids gave me one, and I brought it home. And my dad was fucking livid. He's like, "What are you doing with that guy?" I was like, "It's for the crows in the trees, Dad. You're always out there clapping your hands, getting the birds out, and we could use this." And he's like, "Yeah, nice try." And he
Yeah.
turned it. I was like, "Damn it!"
We're gonna blast the crows.
That's the same mentality into using a flamethrower to melt snow.
Well, how about when you were a kid, you had lawn darts, didn't you? The big freaking lawn dart you had to throw into the
Those
circle.
I've got a set of lawn darts
Metal blade
in my
that part.
shed. England, I got them from England. England didn't ban them, right?
We had
There's only
them all,
dumb
man.
Americans throwing them into the backs of each other's heads. That's why.
However, England's still got a high community of people with holes in their feet. Like,
Lawn dart.
The
puncture
English lawn
holes
dart
on
league.
a rise.
Had a pint, got a lawn dart stuck in my
Oh
what?
man.
Got to go to hospital.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they've mounted one of these flamethrowers onto one of those robot dogs. So like one of the Boston Dynamics dogs. And it's pretty cool. I know. I now put the link of this in the description. Look at that thing.
Oh.
That is freaking crazy.
I think the tappy feet is what freaks me out.
Yeah, right.
If it would just walk, it would be less threatening, but it walks and it's like tick, 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 tick,
Right.
tick, 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 tick. It does way too many steps, and I'm like, you're moving unnaturally, and it's not the fact that you have a flamethrower shooting out your back.
So what we're watching, I put the link to this thing, is like everything's on fire around it. Like it's walking through burning underbrush or something. And it's just shooting flame out the top of it.
Can you imagine that thing like on Iwo or Guadalcanal, where they were using guys with the flamethrowers with this thing? That would have just scared the hell out of every Japanese in a hole.
I was thinking,
Just
what if you
watch the
had,
stupid video.
oh, how do I get out of this thing now? Oh, that's why.
So many ways to kill you, man.
All right, stop this share. Okay. I was thinking of the tunnels in Vietnam.
Yeah, that too.
What if you could just drop one of those fuckers down there, walk around, just cooking everybody?
Oh,
yeah, go.
Horrific.
So they haven't done this for the military yet, but you know it's coming.
How many groups are protesting that thing, you're going to think? I mean,
oh, funny you should mention it.
Humanity.
LA and San Francisco have like pursued these robot dogs to police dangerous areas.
Oh,
right. But they're just like
it's just surveillance right? Now. Yeah. So all you have to do is like get some kid to sneak up and put like those military taps on the back of its heels once. And then it'd be like everywhere. Right? We all worked with that one guy that had taps on his blues shoes and you're like clack.
Yeah. Oh, he's coming.
Yeah, you just gotta sneak up.
Can you imagine if they made that dog snarl or make some kind of wicked ass noise when it's throwing it?
Well, no, it would be more terrifing if you heard nothing. And they're like, oh, these guys were
just the servo or the gyros whirling.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you remember when they used to be scared of like, the bombs that were hitting Britain? What were they called?
The buzz bombs.
The buzz bombs.
Yeah.
So they knew what that noise was, and they went, "Oh shit, here it comes again." That thing's snarling and growling.
Well, since we haven't done it yet, the Russians have done it. They've made an RPG mounted on a dog.
Oh my goodness! Holy cow!
There it is. It's like a trade show, maybe.
Yeah, it looks like a space symposium kind of thing.
It looks looks like a light anti-tank weapon. It's strapped to its back.
Mm-hmm.
There's that tappy.
Tappy feet, man. Tappy feet.
That is terrifying.
And people are taking pictures, fascinated with this thing. And it's weird to watch them fascinated with a war or a weapon that's designed to blow
kill.
them into Kingdom Come. And they're like,
Yep.
look how cute this thing is.
Oh, look at this.
Can I pet your dog?
Yeah.
Right.
Service
Oh.
animal, do not pet.
And
Do
then the
not pet.
truly, as Jake would say, the truly terrifying is the Chinese have a video out of a drone dropping a robot dog that's armed with a gun on its back.
Oh,
But they're dropping it on the roof of an
It
apartment
looks like a
building,
roof.
and then
Yes.
and then it goes to basically start going through the
Patrolling.
apartment building and
Essentially
clearing the
like
building. Yeah,
patrolling, right?
and
guys,
that's
I
not
think
just
we've just discovered why the guy in Okinawa stuck on the gal's back, and I think we
Yeah,
understand
oh,
why
that's
she
why.
was there now.
that's why.
They were waiting for the dog.
Yeah, that poor.
So this is very adventuresome.
Here's the
Chinese
thing, Marty.
music.
Like, this is not just a gun. Like, a gun is a freaking 1911. That's a gun.
Right.
Right? M16, 19 gun. Look at the freaking drum
Yeah, the
magazine
drum
on that
magazine.
thing. That is a
Yeah, that's
light,
right. That's right.
like light machine gun. Like, that's not
Ooh,
Oh yeah.
not just a pistol or an M16.
That's not a couple shots.
that
That's
thing's wreaking havoc.
probably
that's
250 maybe in
a-
that drum.
Large caliber or larger caliber with a lot of ammunition.
You know, it's funny when you go, hey, we were watching Star Trek when they were doing what was the communicator, which essentially was the flip phone.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, that's neat. Or they had medical devices that would just kind of scan the outside of your temperature and stuff. You're like,
Yeah.
wow, look at this. Now we got sci-fi that's just all killing.
Yeah.
If you go from Terminator, Matrix, any sci-fi movie is all about these robotic
Black Mirror.
killers.
That
Black
friggin-
Mirror.
I'm telling you, man, that show messed me up. I think too much about it. That's the problem. I'm
Hey,
like,
you've brought it up several times. Now we're going to have to go
Well-
see the episodes.
Did you let your
my-
kids watch it, Jake?
no.
No.
And it wasn't, it's suspenseful. It's more of
The idea of it.
the idea of it, and like, holy crap, how many steps away is society from that right now?
Not too far, man.
And it's called
That-
Black Mirror.
Yeah, it's on Netflix. It's got
But we don't
Or-
even really have to go that far because
No.
when the Predator came out, it was like, look at how much we can see and for how long. This is awesome. This thing can stay up there forever. And they're like, hey, I wonder if it's like, the late night Taco Bell employees are like, hey, I wonder if you put a burrito in a taco, what would that create? These guys are doing the same thing. They're like, what if we put a hellfire on that thing? They're like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, let's try that. So we've already
Yeah.
seen the progression of a surveillance drone to a lethal killer to
Crazy.
where they want automatic or they want drone wingmen F-16s, right?
Yeah. No more human pilots.
I mean, the dogs are coming. You're just going to have an army of dogs, and the Chinese can outbuild us. I mean, Jesus. They're going to come out. We're going to be all set for some invasion of Taiwan, and then out of the water are going to be these dogs crawling at you, and you're like, they got us. They win. They got 1,000 submersible robot dogs coming
Well,
out.
and
of the
then
water.
again, the question is, how close are we to AI taking care of all of us? And AI becoming
Oh, yeah.
thinking.
Well, sure. Yeah.
Ah,
Sure. All right, let's get to last story. We did this before Jake joined the program, Eric and
Yeah.
I. This is one of our first ever stories about the Army's development of the tactical bra.
I still laugh.
I always like to pause when I say that.
When you talk about boobs in a bra, you gotta laugh.
It's funny.
Boobs in a bra.
It's, with hardened nipple casings. So
We're gonna get smacked down on this one. I can already see it.
anyway, the Army's trying to do this in a legitimate way. Well, funny enough, the New Yorker magazine, which I've never read, I know it's out there, but the New Yorker magazine, a female writer from the New Yorker, makes a joke of the Army's tactical bra. So she wrote this article saying, "Oh, it's fire resistant, but it's not bulletproof. Barbie never needed a bra because she wasn't jiggly." It was just all these just real snide comments. And but the person defending it on this Task and Purpose article said the tactical bra is no joke. All right. And this was a guy writing in defense of the bra, interestingly enough. Women in the military pay out of pocket for high quality sports bras for physical training, and that can be very expensive, especially for junior enlisted service members, said Kayla Williams, who's a senior policy researcher at the Rand Corporation and a former Army sergeant. At the Rand Corporation, that's pretty tech, right? That's pretty tech, isn't it? She goes on to say, female service members also face dangers that most civilians do not, and that is why. And that is why it is important for them to have fire-resistant undergarments. She told Task and Purpose. Well, I mean, if it gets down to that, right? I mean, aren't the ACUs and all the uniforms essentially supposed to be fire-resistant anyway?
Retardant, I believe. Yeah.
Or
the show or the shirt,
what you call
right?
Me?
Yeah. The shirt's not like that. Shirt is like polyester almost. Right?
Well, yeah, that's a I suck the fire in and I melt to your skin. But all those
you just won't feel the fire anymore.
Right. But all those uniforms are billed as fire retardant or resistant and IR dampening until you wash them for the first time, right? And you wash them and you're like, oh yeah, it lost all its characteristics.
Lost it, yeah.
So,
do you use a 5x9 dryer sheet?
Oh,
this can only have a
4x3. Big mistake. Yeah, you can't
have it dry.
You can't have belts.
Warranty is void.
They said another issue is how the tactical bra might fit in with the Army's efforts to provide women with better fitting tactical vests and ballistic plates. She said, under current designs, tactical vests can hold plates too far away from women's bodies.
And their vital areas, because it's lower towards your abdomen.
Yeah, that makes sense. It doesn't actually curve down to their abdomen.
Right. So you got to have the, the period piece, the Valkyrie woman armor, that's all curvy, right?
Yeah.
I think instead of a tactical bra, they should have made like a tactical corset. That probably would have helped.
Well, I'm for this. I mean, if a woman could be more comfortable and protected,
and if they're giving
better,
it to younger airmen, that would be that's a good benefit, right?
Yeah, they understand they're better protected from this stuff.
Yeah, sure.
And it saves money, it saves time and effort. Like you don't have to worry about, if we're going to issue it, if it's an issued piece, I'm all for it.
Yeah. Well, with the complicated sizing process that the military has.
Oh yeah.
Small, medium, small,
large, medium,
large, medium.
Yeah. And exactly. Don't expect it to fit anywhere near appropriately.
No, right.
We used to talk about the fatal T, which was across your. Listen. The fatal T covers all the internal organs that will, if they're hit by a round, you die.
Yeah.
So the fatal T was not protected on a woman on their initial body armor because of their breast.
Oh, really?
This now helps cover that fatal T, and medics appreciate that more too.
Well, we're talking two different issues. We're just talking about them developing the bra. They haven't developed a body armor, a female-specific body armor, have they?
No, the bra is supposed to be bullet resistant.
No, it's just fire resistant.
I thought it said bullet resistant too.
No, that's what the New Yorker person was making fun of it. Because it's not bullet resistant.
I thought it was. I thought it was part of the Kevlar system.
No, it's not a Kevlar.
Oh,
it's just a more comfortable fitting garment.
Well, shit, it's useless then.
I mean, hell, if it was bullet resistant, I'd be like, hey, I'll take one. Right? I mean, why not?
Yeah, but because you have a body armor on and your metal plate
You're a John Wick business suit at that point in time. Like that thing's
Right.
I'd wear that.
All you gotta do is just kind of
Daily.
bring it up
Yeah.
a little bit over your face, and you're protected.
And knife resistant too, man. You could slash it.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah.
Slash it.
Yeah. He's still gonna have a bruise from that poking.
This
Bruising was not realistic in that series.
no, not whatsoever. The former Army Sergeant Kayla Williams said, "We're still working towards a time when plates are designed to account for women's unique body structure." So I haven't got there yet. She said, "For me, when I was in Iraq wearing my flak vest every single day, I got calluses on my collarbones. If it is possible to design gear in a way that is protective of our bodies, it can reduce harm, increase comfort, and it potentially has the ability to reduce disability compensation claims down the road." So
Yeah.
that's smart that she brought
That's
that
what
up.
they always say. It'll cut down on VA claims.
That's the justification. Yeah.
Oh, we could lose more money in that case.
But that could open up a whole bunch of new claims, right? You know, so,
I would default to yes. Anything the military does
well, sure, right.
is not thought out to the third order of effect.
Right. But let's say they do get it there and it becomes like a basic issue. They'll be short.
I think that's going to be the one thing we all agree on. It's
They'll end
never
up
going
with
to work.
extra small, or double XL. You know, we're like, oh, we got nothing in between. We're waiting on the supplier. So
Nothing.
which one do you want to take?
We're sold out of everything C and B. 99% of the D.
We got F and G cups if you want those.
Yeah,
We got
we're good.
those
We're
forever,
good.
You know.
My size 6 snow bunny boots that'll fit all.
Yeah,
Remember?
that's
Right.
exact-
I ordered a bunch of
exact-
size 6 bunny boots.
God, those over boots. Oh my God. just the effort to put those on and take them off.
Oh man.
Former Marine Major Kylianne Hunter said, "This isn't just but women want a new bra. It is women want to be safe and healthy and reduce the risk of injury while doing jobs that they're fully qualified to do." That sounds like a statement, doesn't it? While doing jobs that they're fully qualified to do. It's like, okay, well, you didn't need to tack that part on there, but you did. The military and the Army with this is really showing an investment in valuing women's health and well-being so that they can make their best contributions possible. Good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. All right. We know from years and years of research that ill-fitting and improperly fitting equipment is a leading cause of injury for service women. It also then leads to women leaving the military earlier because they can't get the gear/equipment support that they actually need. What did they need before? Anyway, stories.
I would question that as a cause, like a significant cause of military or women leaving the military.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
Like
That's a good point.
that exit survey was, why are you leaving? Ill-fitting uniforms, ill-fitting
undergarments.
downright poop equipment. Like, I don't know. Here's the thing. I would not trust the military to design and build me something that I would want to wear.
Oh my God. Remember when the Air Force came
Like,
out with that new PT shirt and it was that polyester, non-breathing, reflective on the back, the most uncomfortable shirt I've ever worn.
That back reflection, the wings, just instant sweat just in that whole area.
God, it was
there wasn't a breath of air. You were wearing a wetsuit in that area.
Yes.
I never had to wear that one. I was gone before I left.
Oh God, you would have hated it. You would have hated it.
And it's just typical. It's typical though. As soon as they figure out how to make it work and it fit well, they're like, we need a new design.
That's right.
Come on.
No,
right? Like
what they'll say is, oh, the Army has this bra. The Marines want a different bra. Yeah. And then we'll have 4, 5 different sets of bras.
Oh, yeah. Can you imagine what Space Force is going to look like?
Ooh. Exactly. Marty, there was that brief window in PT gear where New Balance was making the shorts.
Oh yeah, yeah,
and they were perfect.
yeah. They
like
were nice.
they were like you couldn't get any of them. They only
I
had
know.
one pair for like the whole base of Vandenberg. But they were actually running shorts of an appropriate length.
Yeah.
And they weren't swishy, right? They weren't like
They were like the Ranger panties. Yeah,
they weren't Ranger panties. They
decent
were good
wear shorts.
length. They
Yeah.
were, I'm like, what is this miracle? And then instantly, nope. New
Moving
Balance
on.
is not making it.
Yeah, that's not. You're not.
Exactly.
You're not wearing the new reflective ones.
Yep. And that was it.
Those things
You're
were
like,
horrible.
oh, now we got to
So,
go back
anyway.
to water repellent.
So we're still waiting on results of the bra field test, and we'll bring those to you as soon as we get them. Now, moving on to close out last week, we had an all-military selection on handguns. We had the M9 Beretta, the World Defender,
Hey now, world
defending the
defender.
entire world.
we had the Colt Peacemaker, the gun that won the West. Or the
Won the
handgun.
whole entire West.
The whole entire West.
Admittedly smaller than the world.
Good call.
And you had the infamous M1911. Well, the overwhelming comments that we received are in. Overwhelming. Took me a while to tally them. The winner is the M1911.
It was 5 from a drunk relative. Okay, sorry, buzzed relative.
Buzzed relative.
When you read them, you can't say that you didn't feel a little overwhelmed.
No, I read them and I was like, ooh, that was valid. Okay,
was
all
valid.
right, he
That
made a
was
good point.
valid.
And then I'm like, he went a little bit, I don't know where he's going on this. And then, he's back. He's got me again. He got me.
That majority input came from my brother, senior or sergeant first class retired Jerry Smith. So,
well done, Jerry.
The M1911 is our all military selection.
And rightfully so.
Agreed.
Rightfully so.
All right, gentlemen. I think that's in depth for today. What do you say?
In depth.
I like when you do that every time. It
And
almost feels, when we were when we were out in the field in artillery, we always knew it was over when they gave you, or at least you were going to move when they gave you march order. So they would say march order down the line, and then everybody like march order, like a bunch of lemmings. But that meant break it all down. We're moving, right?
So we need to start putting Lee Greenwood on, right here. The song.
No, that's too much of a leap. We're not saluting America.
How come I always have a handprint right there when I say something funny? I get slapped.
Not funny.
Oh,
Not funny.
is that what the problem? Okay. Okay.
The only reason I knew it was supposed to be funny this time is because the camera's on and you smirked a little bit. That was it.
Fair enough. Okay, I'll buy it.
But keep it coming. I don't want to discourage you.
No Lee Greenwood.
On behalf of all of us here, I'd like to thank you for listening today. Please like, share, subscribe, and let us know how we did in the comments. And as always, make sure to download the next episode for more Service Headline News. Man, thanks for the week, and I'll see you next week.
Bye.
All right, Eric. Good night. Eric, if you want an example of civilian made versus mil spec, just look at the difference between your tank top and Marty's.
Shit.
That worn out staggy V-neck looking tank top.
Mine's direct from India. What are you
Marty, I
talking
think he's got you there, man. It even looks like a little sweat right down here in the bottom.
Admit.
Prime example.
The only thing that's close is just the seams, because Eric is all man in that tank top, and I am sweating my ass off in a house with no AC. So.
Now that also might be the difference of putting a Marine in their uniform versus an Air Force member.
That's probably true.
A space
That
force.
might be
A space
a
force.
Space Force. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.